The Ryen Russillo Show is presented by DraftKings. Today, I'm going to run through the Ja Morant timeline. It's just something that I've wanted to talk about, and a conclusion I think we all need to come to. And we're going to do our NBA mailbag from a good 10 minutes from our YouTube page with Ceruti asking us some questions, which feels like it could be just Sixers fans giving me a hard time, which may be fair in some cases. Unfair in others. We got Stanford Steve talking college football, going through the contenders, and then trying to make sense of this BYU, Utah, Miami ranking, and then looking ahead to how the rankings will look on Tuesday. He gives us a winner for Thanksgiving week. We've got life advice. So all that is coming up right now. Do you know about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving? Turkey for eating, table for gathering, and touchdowns for winning. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in before dessert. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action's in your hands. First touchdown, anytime TD, live bets, every play, every snap, every game counts. Big plays, bold calls, and bragging rights. When the games get good, the bets get better. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code Ryen. That's code Ryen, R-Y-E-N. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Chill.
Buy now and get the Russillo hoodie free. Call 1-800.
European fever.
The week is the Oregon Duck.
We need a big push here.
We're going to do some NBA mailbag stuff that we do on our YouTube. A good 10 minutes. NBA, a good 10 minutes. I don't really know technically what the title is. I think it's just a good 10 minutes. Normally it always goes longer than that. And then obviously we got Stanford Steve coming up here on Life Advice before a holiday for a bunch of you. I just came back from London, landed late last night, got up, was ready to go, then did a little NBA TV. So I'm in an NBA mood. I'm excited about it. So I want to talk a little bit about Ja Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies, and kind of where they're at. Not that any of this is breaking news, but if we run through the timeline, and we touched on the Ja and Klay stuff from the past week, where you're just like, what are you doing? Like, what is your goal, Ja Morant? So we touched on that Monday. All right, let's take a look at Memphis here. They're 10th in the West. They're a half a game up on Utah and the Clippers. Sacramento's a game behind them. You know, beginning in the plan for the Grizzlies this year, you could probably label it as what's the point. Memphis does own their pick. Utah's a top 8 protected pick to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, by the way, could have a scenario where they have the Clippers unprotected pick. So you imagine the Clippers are going to fight to get into the play-in. Utah, you would think, wants nothing to do with the play-in. They have to have the odds have to go in their favor this year, and a really good draft at the top. So OKC, best case scenarios, they could have, if you run through this, they'll have the Clippers unprotected, which could be number 1. They could have Utah's if it lands at 9 or lower. Then they're going to have Houston and Philadelphia's first round pick. So that's 4. They also have Dallas's unprotected second rounder. So it's just a joke. OKC's pick actually goes to Washington this year. So that's some other stuff for you. But if you look at the play-in and you look at where we're at historically, entering our 6th year of the play-in, huh? How about that, Chicago Bulls fans? You knew that. You're like, yeah. I mean, I pre-order my play-in ticket package every summer. Like, yeah, of course we know that it's been that long. But if you look at their record at 10th, like it's an abysmal record. They're 6-12. So they're like 333 winning percentage. If you go back through the West over the previous years, last season it was a 39-43 team, the 10 seed. One year with the Warriors, it was 46-36. That was the 10th best record in the West. That's ridiculous. Then it was 42-40, 34-48, 33-39 in a shorter season in 21. So basically, all of these records at the worst, the 34-48 is a 415 winning percentage. So winning 1/3 of your games is probably not going to get it done. We're not even 20 games into the season yet. But again, with them off to this bad start and this new system that I want to get to and everything. Since Ja played in 61 games in 23, 23 was the Lakers' first round exit when they were the 2 seed that some people get really excited about. I think the best era, like the best moment in the Ja era, is probably the whoop that trick game in 22 against the Golden State Warriors when he wasn't playing. Because remember, he got hurt on that play. His knee was hurt, and then Jordan Poole kind of swiped at his knee. I was watching the play again this morning. He barely touches him. And then Ja tweeted out, broke the code. Broke the code. Because Steve Kerr had talked about breaking the code when Dylan Brooks tried to murder Gary Payton. He also went after Gary Payton because Gary Payton, when he had a dunk earlier, like did the on his head thing. So Dylan Brooks, a.k.a. Captain Retribution. So then we had some broke the code debates. Did anyone break the code? Again, I think he kind of barely touches him post game. Josh just beside himself. So then you run through more of the stuff. 8 games he was suspended in 23 for the gun video incident. I was on an island on this one. I thought some of the suspension stuff with him was a little excessive because then there was another video incident, but it was also a culmination of like some of the other stuff when there was that big feature a couple of years ago on like, what's going on with this guy? May of 23 investigated, then suspended the first 25 games of the next upcoming season. So you're like, all right, look, he's still young enough. He can turn this thing around. He's going to be fine. No big deal. I think when his dad was wearing the redemption hoodie, and I think his dad is in the hoodie with Ja, like giving it up to the crowd. I don't know. Maybe he is or isn't. I could see the dad being like, let's get one with Ja, but I'd also like to be in it. Is that possible? Maybe shot from the back, just kind of open up that POV. That was the thing, is it wasn't like, all right, I got to fix some of this stuff. Like, I'm a 9-figure brand. I've got this shoe, and I remember going to like a Nike, I think it was in Times Square is usually where I'd be when I go to New York City. I'm pretty sure I was not in Times Square. It was Soho. And I walked into the Nike store and I asked the guy, I was like, how are the Ja shoes doing? He's like, can't keep them in here. He's like, people love them. Kids love the shoes. I was like, that's cool. Good for him. But I think the thing that we learned is all that stuff was going on. I was like, oh, this guy's not going to be accountable to anything. Like there's nothing that's in his head. It's like, okay. And when the world is against you, I can imagine you being like, all right, my first instinct is to defend myself. And you're going to see so many things when it's you that you're like, well, that's not true. That's wrong. That's bullshit. All these people talking, can't keep my name out their mouths. But then his whole demeanor since then has been worse. Like that should have been a moment on his timeline of like, all right, man, like a lot of this stuff is really stupid. Like this is pretty fixable stuff, right? Like what's the point of pursuing this role playing that he seems to be obsessed with that I don't understand while he's watching a ton. So then he had like the Warrior celebration where he pointed the gun at the guys, and then he immediately had the grenades celebration. And you're like, oh, you just don't get it. Sometimes we'll spend a lot of time talking about public figures being like, why would he do this? Why would he do that? And sometimes we're like, maybe we need to stop having as high of expectations. So this year he has that disastrous Friday night game, says, talk to the coaches. He gets suspended again. This new system with Memphis where the plan is play a bunch of guys, shorter burst rotations. I'm kind of fascinated by the entire idea. Like, could you build a team that was 12 deep in the NBA and over the course of a grueling season, just be that much fresher at the end by playing no one on the team? Jaren Jackson doesn't even crack 29 minutes a game, right? And they sub out 4 at a time. I'm actually really interested in whether or not this could work. But you know what? It's not going to work with these guys. Because the first thing an athlete does, if you change something, like you can be bad as a head coach, but as long as you're bad with stuff they're familiar with, you're probably going to last it a little bit longer. If you're bad with innovation, you're fucked. And that's what's clearly happened with this guy. And the fact that he's from Finland, like these dudes are just going to go, no thanks. The other problem with limiting minutes for players is no guy, and I remember talking to, I think Jalen Rose even had this, because ironically, that Jalen Rose Ja Morant interview still was like a sign. You're like, this is a sign. This is not good. But Jalen used to tell us this load management deal doesn't work with minutes. It has to be the full game because no good player, no 20-point-a-game guy wants to go, oh, this is my 15-minute-a-game week, and now I'm destroying all my averages. If I sit out the entire game, then my averages are still good, and I'll be fine. So inviting this into an NBA locker room, like that alone was going to be a big reason why there was going to be all this resistance to it. They play like 13, I think, here. You know, the minutes range from, I don't know, 29 to like 12. But the numbers are brutal. I mean, Jaren Jackson's advanced stuff, because that's another thing. You say, hey, I'm not really getting comfortable. I'm not really going to be in a rhythm. It might not even be true, but that's what the player is going to say. He's gone from 22 to 17. His PER, even if you don't like PER, he was always like a 17 to 21 guy. He's at 13 now. His advanced stuff is awful. You look at this season, his advanced line, you're like, who is that guy? And if you want to stay with some of these numbers here, I mean, Ja, who never could shoot it, his shooting splits this season are 36 and 17% from three on 5 3-point attempts. And then Tim Bontemps had this number that basically his numbers inside, his percentage of attempts inside the restricted area, it's gone down every single year from his rookie year. This is a guy that was 7th at MVP voting his third year in at 22 years old. And to bring it full circle, like, why would you even want to go after Klay? Yeah, Klay's not as good now. No shit. He's old. I guess I'm done trying to figure out why Ja wants to play the victim when none of his responses to any of this other stuff ever would give you the idea that this is somebody that's in the business of wanting to figure any of this out. We got Ceruti jumping in here. We're going to do a little NBA mailbag. Again, NBA mailbag rr@gmail.com. Ceruti's in charge of reading these. So what do we got?
Some good ones, actually. We'll get these in on the YouTube only, sometimes on the actual pod, but I enjoy this first one. Ryan, congrats on the new gig. By the way, this is from Fred. He doesn't give us a location. Congrats on the new gig. I've enjoyed your work for a while. I'm 59 years old. What's that?
Suspicious.
He's 59 years old, played basketball at a reasonably high level, held my own with D2 players and with D1 players who didn't like playing defense until my knees and my lower back said enough. My favorite player to watch back in the day was Kevin McHale. I feel like most guys in that age range, they just love Kevin McHale. It's incredible.
I love Kevin McHale.
I didn't grow up in that scene watching him. I mean, I've seen YouTube highlights. He seems awesome, but it's just like every old dude is like, oh, Kevin McHale.
I owe Kevin McHale, like, that was a huge part of my pickup career, was just nobody knew what to do with those things. Nobody knew those up and unders, turn, left shoulder, right shoulder, set them up, go early, then don't go early. It was just, I wish I had video. I would watch it.
Footwork of a ballerina. Let's see. My basketball viewing perspective has evolved with the times for the most part, with one glaring exception, SGA. I recognize that he's immensely skilled for being one of the best players on the planet, but I can't ignore / unsee that he pushes off to create space for his pull-up jumper on seemingly every shot. It bothers me greatly. Obviously, you've emailed the show. As a basketball expert, what would you recommend I do to get past this issue with this part of SGA's game? There seems to be so much to appreciate, but I haven't yet found a way to get past his push-offs. Thanks for any help you provide, Fred.
I'd watch Harden and then go back and watch SGA and be like, okay.
So it could be worse is your answer?
Yeah. I don't know why the refs, I'll never understand this era of the officiating where they just said, you know what, if you want to Heisman everybody on your way there, if you're kind of clever about it, it's fine. It's totally fine. Like, there's nothing you can do. First of all, you can't be out of position on the drive, or then you're at the mercy of like, oh, you were out of position and he drove into you and you weren't in defending position. It's like, yeah, but he drove right at me and hit into my hip. He didn't want to score. He didn't want to go around me. He wanted to drive in me and I just happened to be turned. So now you have to be in like perfect defensive position. And then, I mean, Harden's so good with it because he keeps it like inside and then he flicks you and he's so strong. But like those times, especially like peak Harden, when the SportsCenter app was run by, I have no idea who it was, and it looked like they were just ejected out of a James Bond car, and then it'd be like, put him on skates. Be like, no, he didn't. He fucking shoved him. And why the officials never decided to be like, do you know how many offensive players are just Heismaning their way to getting to a good spot. So yeah, watch hard and then you won't feel as bad. I think the biggest thing about the foul baiting, the difference between like Embiid's foul baiting, Trae Young's foul baiting, is that at least SGA, a lot of it is like, what would they tell you when you were a kid? Stay on your feet. Stay on your feet. So if it's an up fake and you're into the air and then he's getting into you, even if you feel like it's really the priority is the contact and the free throws, it doesn't feel as gross to me as some of the other stuff other guys do, which I know is not a great. But how about do this with SGA? His movement, the way where he doesn't have to be dynamic like Ant, but how he can get to wherever he wants. And granted, sometimes it's the physicality and all this kind of stuff, but I don't know, maybe it's that trade-off that the officials will talk about. Like, we can't have defensive players never be allowed to touch anybody. So if we're allowing some kind of contact from the defensive player, then we have to allow the offensive player to then kind of initiate it. And it becomes this like cycle of where it's going. But I just think there are certain players that have made careers off of this.
Yeah, it reminds me, like, do you play Super Smash Brothers growing up at all?
I didn't.
So, there's like a lot of button combination things here and there, yada, yada. And like, you can get frustrated with the guys, but like it's like there's some guys who just have these sequences nailed down, or they just like know how to play with certain, with Link or Yoshi or whoever they're using, right? And like SGA, everything he does up until that point, even the push off, is masterful. Like I get annoyed with SGA too. I don't like it. I said the same thing about Jalen Brunson on a couple pods ago, and I had Knicks fans kind of mad at me, but it's the same thing. Those guys, when they get into that position, even before they have the chance to push off, it's kind of master. It's like an art form. It's incredible to watch. So I think there is a part of it you can appreciate while still being annoyed about the push off.
Yeah. All right.
And it's fair to be annoyed about it.
Yeah, but there's some players where I think I'm so annoyed by them, it gets in the way of any appreciation. That's never been the case with SGA for me. So
yeah, I don't think he's not Trae Young level. You're right. He's not Harden level. So like, I guess cut him some slack. I don't know that I love the like it could be worse though situation, but I think you're allowed to not like players. It's okay. All right, next one. This is from Steven. You probably won't read this based on the subject, but you or Ceruti seeing Heat culture in your mailbox and rolling your eyes is probably enough for me. That's a good start. I like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Heat and how wrong you both were about them before the season. Hand up. Again, it's only, not even 20 games in the season. I don't think anyone saw them playing this style, but Ceruti's dismissiveness about Spo, I wasn't dismissive about Spo. Spo is the guy, first off. And the franchise that has done more in the past 7 years than the Magic have done in their entire existence is absolutely disrespectful. Lastly, one of my favorite Russillo moments happened in the first pod on the new show, and it was during a Shake Shack ad read. It was a read for the new burger and how it has so much protein in it that you can have it before or after the gym. Ryan did a little chuckle reading, you can have it before or after the gym, and it was so funny because there's no way anyone is eating that before they're going to the gym, and they shouldn't after either. First off, that's incorrect. That's just flat out incorrect. I know Ryan, and I know his eating habits, and you do love Shake Shack, so it's like, happy to do more reads for Shake Shack. They're awesome. Shake Shack, the protein is real, and it's the best burger out there. I don't know what to tell you.
The Heat are fascinating. This whole pace thing's ridiculous. I ran through all the pace numbers. They're never even in the teens. The last couple of years, they were like one of the 3 worst pace teams. They come in this year, everybody's going to touch the ball. We're going to go fast. I love teams that want to go fast, but then you're usually giving up something defensively. But then to also do this without Bam, who I think is their best player. And of course, like, I get the hero part of it. There is a bit of the Trae Young light thing going on here with Miami, where Atlanta is better without Trae Young, but you're also missing his incredible shot making. And in those spots, like a tight playoff game, like, is there some way you can get us a bucket? And Trae is obviously that guy. Whatever the rest of his deficiencies are, he's going to find a way to like solve your screwed up possession. I may not always be the best shot selection, but you get the point. Over the years with Tyler Hero, I would say early on, I didn't appreciate his on-ball shot creation enough. And I'd say the last couple of years, like, when he gets it going, like, he is really something special. But you also realize, like, you're giving up something there defensively. And he's probably going to mess with your whole usage, sharing, passing, everybody touches it thing. So I didn't know what was going to happen with Hawkheads. His rookie year was so good, and then last year was bad that he was just kind of a question mark. I didn't know that they were going to have this system when they've never played fast And you always kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, like they'll outperform, their record will be better than what their talent is. And then the Norm Powell acquisition on top of everything else. And I
Love
still
Norm.
like the Jovic minutes, they're an absolute post-London class organization. But I think it's really fun for Heat fans, but do you want me to pick them like you guys picking them to win the East? Because I'm not.
But that's the thing, is that like Spo has to coach his mind off to get them to this point. Like, I don't think, there's probably not another coach in the league that can get them to where they are right now. Like, maybe are they the most boring team in the league? Were we maybe wrong about that in the preseason for sure?
Well, they were, and now they're not, and they're playing fast and it's fun and everybody touches the ball and Davion's a menace, and I think Ware's going to be a good player. But if you start putting them up against other healthy teams in the East, talent for talent in the playoffs, I don't know. I'm probably still not going to like them or pick them. We'll see how the rest of the season plays out here. Or maybe the Heat counterpoint would be maybe we started to see the beginning of this with the Pacers, where if you play fast enough, if you trust that many people on your team with the ball in their hands, and therefore you have to defend all of these initiators with the ball, like, can you make up for the talent gap? Or did the Pacers, the Pacers played really good basketball from, I think, January 1st on. So we'll see. But yeah, I guess I was wrong in the sense that, well, I don't feel wrong because all the data was everything we had seen before was like, God, this is a boring team and I'm never going to pick them against anybody and like have fun against Chicago or Atlanta in the play-in, like whatever. Like, what's the fucking point of this? But I did not expect this. So that part I would say, yeah, totally wrong.
Again, what's their ceiling though? We're actually going to do an East ceiling thing at some point. Maybe we'll do it after Thanksgiving. All right, last one here. This is from Robbie. Ryen, longtime listener, first-time caller. You touched on the Sixers and how exciting their guards are. What would be your ideal rotation for the Sixers now that Wofford is back? PG is expected to be back in the next week or so, and McCain is coming back as well. Also, why are you very critical of Embiid knowing he's on a minutes restriction? You conveniently left out that he was in 9 plus 23 minutes, albeit against Washington, in your Ted Good Minutes video. Thank you, and excited for the NBA season preview on PMT coming in January.
Yeah, I don't know what you Embiid guys want. I mean, what is this mailbag going to be? Just Heat and Sixers fans, like with a direct line?
It's going to be, hey, you said this and you're wrong. Yeah. Explain yourself.
I feel very right about historically my Embiid.
The Embiid take
now. Yeah. I mean, it's never been stronger. I mean, look, I hope he gets back and I hope he's healthy. That part of it's all over. What was the question in there? Did you just want to say I was wrong about a plus minus from one game in there?
He wants to know how you would deal with the Sixers guard rotations with, PG coming back, McCain, Watford. The Embiid thing was like almost kind of an aside.
Oh, yeah. I guess, look, that's probably my fault. That's on the host. I got more focused on that and worked up about it. Well, you have to kind of look, Maxey probably, you would hope he's not going to have to play 40-plus minutes the entire time. I mean, once he gets going downhill with the basketball, it's over. I know VJ's been a little up and down, but I've loved the totality of it, and I kind of love his makeup, and it backs up everything else. And McCain was so good. He was like the only good thing that was going on with this team last year. It's probably those three because the priority over Grimes is just a contract thing. Like the Grimes number for this year is totally manageable. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were to get Embiid back and feel a little bit better about how he looks, which I know is a big ask. I thought George looked pretty good coming back. I mean, Oubre for them in totality has been, I don't know what the last week was, but he wasn't always one of my favorite guys. And I think he's been terrific like throughout most of the entire run. So I don't know how they're going to play those four guys together. Well, excuse me. They're obviously not playing all four of them together, but that's a lot of shots. It's a lot of touches. And when Embiid is playing, like he's going to want his touches there. So Grimes is so good though, man. Yeah, I don't really have like a clear answer for this other than Daryl, when they had Chris Paul and Harden, granted that's two guards compared to four guards. Maybe it's just as dramatic as we'll make sure that two of the four are always out there at the exact same time. And then you're closing with VJ and Maxey. I would imagine if you're healthy, because you would want the size. I don't know that you'd want three guys that small going up against some of the other guys. But let's see who else is healthy in the East. Orlando, like if they were to play Orlando in the playoffs, hypothetically, you
Playing
can
tonight.
probably only play 2 of those guards against all of that size in the wing with Paul George playing. So, yeah, it's a good problem to have because the other problem is a bad problem to have.
All right.
All right, so you can hit
NBA
up
Mailbag, RR@gmail.
Yeah, there you go. NBA Mailbag, RR@gmail. We'll do it every week, usually just on YouTube, but for the holidays, we're hooking you up. Oh, let's do it. We're going to have him on a bunch. Stanford Steve from ESPN, a.k.a. Cocktails, a.k.a. Daddy Gronk. a.k.a. the ambassador of Ansonia, the Valley Viking, Steve Coughlin. I'm just making up a bunch of these, but I think Daddy Gronk may play. That could play. What's up, man? It's good to see you.
No, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, not familiar grounds here at the in-laws in Ansonia. We got Valley New Year tomorrow night. Boys are fired up. Norwood's
So you making it to the
rocking.
club? When's the last time you've been at the club?
Oof.
You still paying your dues?
No, I got to get on that. They're already on me. Not even, hey, what time are we going? Hey, you got to pay your dues. Out-of-state fees. So I gotta. I don't know. I don't even know if they take credit debit cards still. Probably just check or cash. Cash always works at the club.
They still serving those hypes, those fucking shots with the energy drink that I didn't know.
No,
I didn't know there was caffeine in them, and we're just like, oh yeah, these are like lifesavers. You're like, why are we taking these at 2 a.m?
Yeah, after watching the Super Bowl. No, I think that big upgrade. I believe they have Casamigos now. Big upgrade.
That doesn't seem like that place. Just to put it in perspective, before it was remodeled, this is just a men's club in Ansonia. So I went down. I was like, I got to see this place. And it was everything I wanted to be and even more. And then it was just sort of chaotic. Like you were sort of allowed to bartend whenever you wanted to, even though there was people shift. But like you bartended there, but you weren't working that night. And then anybody that just wanted a shot at any point, they'd be like, Donnie, couple hypes.
Get around.
Hypes. And it just was endless. So anyway, all right, let's start with some college ball here.
Yeah.
You've heard me say this. You and I have talked. Look, the SEC teams at the top that are kind of in this group, I'm like, I don't know that I love these teams. Like I usually love one team out of this group. And then I think about like who Indiana and Ohio State have played. Look, I think those 2 teams are just better than anything else the SEC has to offer. Certainly at sports, it doesn't mean that they're going to face each other in the national championship, depending on how the seeding breaks down. But like, what do you think the gap is between those 2 teams and whoever you think is in that next group?
I don't think it's large at all, Ryan. I think it's minimal. I actually look at Oregon after seeing them in person Saturday again, and think about what's ahead for the Ducks. There's talks about Evan Stewart coming back. No one still knows about Ja'Cory Moore. But now that they are situated in the offensive line and that 3-headed monster at running back, like they didn't want to have to run the ball against Indiana, but now they have to, and they like to. And I went back and watched the Iowa game as we were getting ready. I think it was Iowa USC. And I'm like, wow, Oregon rolled. I mean, the last drive everybody will talk about because how good Dante was. But they rolled their sleeves up and ran the ball down Iowa's throat in the rain. Like, no, you don't do that in the Big Ten. And Oregon went in there and did it. Whittington has been unbelievable. I didn't think he was going to be this kind of guy, a grinder that, churns out yards carry after carry. So I even look at Oregon as getting into that tier if they get healthy with their skill guys. I thought Indiana did a great job being there for that game of making Dante look really uncomfortable because the whole Penn State game after being there, I was impressed with how comfortable Dante looked in those surroundings. And I really thought that's where DeCorian made it. But, I mean, Kenyon Sadiq, give me all of that, dude. He wears a uniform like no other guy in college football. And I'll put the Georgia linebackers up there. I'll put whoever you want. But my man, he feels those shoulder pads have a really hard time getting over the delts, which I know you appreciate. But I don't see this large gap. I really don't. And I'm when I look at Indiana after seeing them in Ohio State in person, I still think Indiana's more sound. And then Ohio State is just different this time because they don't have the difference maker up front on the defensive line. we've seen guys go to the pros and this. Now, Arvell Reese, he's a different animal. They just line him up wherever they want. But when you're talking about Larry Johnson having those guys with the Bosas, with the Chase Young, I'm forgetting a few here. They always had that one guy they could count on. This is more of a scheme, and Patricia's done a great job of adapting to what he has. But that'll be. I'm interested to see like how many points wins that game if Indiana plays Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, because those defenses are really, really sound. And with this idea of the winning quarterback from the Big Ten championship game is going to win the Heisman, I'm not so sure of that, because I don't know if they're going to be that impressive in that game, just knowing they just want to get a win and win a Big Ten title.
First of all, I love that you went with Oregon there, because I think that Iowa game was a real statement game considering the tackle situation. And then they ended up losing Bryant at receiver after already losing Sadiq. And also Moore has been out for this entire time. Like, I don't even count Stewart anymore. But whether it's Davison, who's 6 foot, 236 freshman, Hill, the freshman who's come along, like they just have a carousel of running backs that look like they want to not only, bust one open, but can also play physical. That's why, there were some metrics there that would tell you, hey, Oregon's beating up on some of these other teams and the schedule hasn't been as good or whatever. But I think there was just early on, Moore ended up being so much better. Like, I didn't know what to expect of him. So it's not like I thought he was going to be bad, but he kind of carried them in the beginning of the year with all the receiver talent. And after they had lost Indiana, which happens with the AP, it's like, look, if you think Indiana is that good, and granted, Oregon's at home, and Indiana was in control of that football game. So the 2020 is a little misleading that it's like, oh, it's a one-score game and Oregon's right there. I thought it was so impressive for Indiana, but also like, man, Oregon, like you never felt comfortable in that one. However, them dropping behind all of these other teams, granted, those SEC teams get a better resume win because they're going to end up going through this gauntlet of all these different ranked teams, depending on if you want to fight that argument. It just felt like people had turned on them way too quickly, and now everybody's kind of caught back up. Like, them being behind Ole Miss was maddening to me, because I just was like, you can't have them behind Ole Miss, considering how Ole Miss flirts with some really average teams this season.
I see what you're saying there. What do you have? What's on your docket? What's your win? And I still look at that Ole Miss win, because see, that was my problem. And Oregon fans were not happy with me Saturday morning, because I went on there and I said 7-10. I got an issue with. I think Alabama and Oklahoma should be ahead of Oregon, because they have multiple top 25 wins. Georgia. The win by Bama at Georgia is right up there right now with Indiana at Oregon. And then even Notre Dame had the win over SC. So I thought Oregon should have been behind these teams. Now, to your credit and to what you're pointing out, they're finding themselves. That was a I don't count it as a great win, but to go to Penn State and go toe to toe in overtime, and the travel's no joke either. And what they've done with losing guys and coming back and getting that win, I thought there was a lot of pressure on them. You could tell there was a sense of urgency. You go down 7-0, which Lincoln Riley does a lot with his teams. But Oregon, there was no fear. I also want to give a lot of credit to Will Stein. I think he's adapted this offense and playing to the strengths. You get down in the red zone, and like I said, this Sadiq guy, like he's just running by guys. I don't care if it's a linebacker or a safety, even a nickel sometimes. So it's a credit to Oregon to take.
Is he your favorite tight end?
Ooh, probably. I mean, he's a freak. He's just an absolute freak show. Whereas he's not asked to put his hand in the dirt a lot, but it's awesome to watch every week and see new guys. I think the kid, the Purdue transfer at Ohio State's done a really good job. The kid from Cal that went to Texas has done a good job. The little man at Oklahoma was a defensive player, kayak. Everybody's finding their roles, but I mean, Sadiq with the wow factor, right now.
Okay, good answer. So how was Eugene, by the way? As great as always?
When's the last time you've been?
I haven't been in forever.
It's, Ryan, it's so much better. And I'm talking about the game experience.
And it was awesome, by the way, before. That's
yes.
amazing. Right.
And I remember you walking through Autzen with Chip and talking about, we changed it. That looked like shit over here. Let's repaint this and, get the neon going. But the in-game with the music, they do this Matt Kearney thing where he sings this Oregon song at the end of the first quarter. The whole stadium's fucking singing it. And then for Shout Now, they have a new shout personalized. Like our guy Neil is in a toga. Joey Harrington is in the band with shades. Like they went up to Eugene and filmed it, I think 2 years ago. And that's what airs now. Well, Michael James is in it. Marcus Mariota's CGI'd in it. But they all went up there for a film, and I was talking to Neil about it. It's so good. Like, it just puts the whole place in a frenzy. But it's that much better. And, our guy Rob Mullins, came in as good as there is in the business as an AD. Came over Friday. Hey, what's going on? Mind if I sit in a meeting? Like, you guys need anything? It's warmed up. And I was glad Lanning said that on game day, just talking about why his name isn't involved. He's like, I'm good, man. I'm really good here. And they're even extending the facility now. Like where they used to do game day outside the stadium. On the other side where the football facility is. They're extending that even more. Supposedly the head coach wanted more of a flat layer and not too many floors with elevators. So they dig it up and they're going to redo it. So how they do it in Eugene. It's fantastic. And it was just also like 50 degrees and clear. It was perfect. A great day. And it made me think back to Halloween night with USC in those uniforms at Autzen, which is an all-timer for you and I know.
All-timer. One of the best nights.
Was it Chewbacca you were in back of at 7-Eleven at 3 a.m? We had to drive to the airport. It was like Chewbacca and somebody.
Yeah. It was like an entire. Well, no, the thing that happened was the fight at Taylor's between the Super Mario brother and Dog the Bounty Hunter on the dance floor.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, let's
Taylor's
talk Georgia.
Closed. R.I.P. Though, by the way.
No,
they ran into some stuff.
Yeah, Taylor's isn't cool to reference anymore. So we are not, in fact, doing it. We're just saying where we saw this fight happen. Let's talk Georgia, because I think you know this team really well. I, like a lot of people, probably a little guilty of like, okay, they've turned the corner. It is crazy to think about like how the season would feel right now for Georgia and Ole Miss if Georgia doesn't come back and Ole Miss doesn't blow that lead.
Yep.
Like that game was one of the defining like storytelling like paths of choose your own adventure for college football programs. Like where Ole Miss would be, how much weirder the Lane Kiffin story would be if they didn't have. Like if they were undefeated, and then you'd be going like Georgia still playing for their lives. So I thought that Stockton game against Texas was like, look, one of the plays is totally broken coverage. The Delp touchdown where Herbstreit does a great job of being like, hey, Stockton's selling this as a keeper with the way he tucks the ball, then gets it out. Like just awesome youth football, like prep. Just prep football. Like, hey, if you're going to do this as a threat at running as a quarterback. So, like, it wasn't like he was dialing these 15-yard throws from one hash to the other, thrown to the sideline. I don't know that we're ever going to get to see that from him. But he was always kind of a limitation guy. We saw the limitations in Bama. I think the front now for Georgia, whether it's probably more on the linebackers here, and I know Allen went down in that game, but now I'm starting to feel like when I'm watching them, it looks like Georgia. And that's where I'm at with them. And I like them better than A&M.
Wow, okay. I go back. I've seen them a ton this year in person. I go back to Knoxville. I mean, you talk about being up against it. I mean, it's 21-7. And that, I mean, it's shaking. And the way they pump in all the stuff now, I mean, you're like, how are we going to get this? I mean, Tennessee's doing whatever they want offensively. Kirby's running through corners, trying to figure out a combo. But when I was on the sideline, I'm watching Kirby, and he's not throwing a visor. He's not throwing a headset. He's coming over. He's like, all right, what did you see? What were they in? All right, let's do this. He goes over and meets with Schumann, and it's like this methodical like, all right, we know we're going 15 rounds, right? Okay, let's make an adjustment here. When you see the left hook or whatever, let's do this. And slowly but surely, the shallow stuff and the waiting on and the deep crossers, they don't have time for it. So they're making adjustments with pressure and sending guys and not sending everybody with the simulated stuff. And then we go to the Ole Miss game, and of course they come back. The fourth down throw by Gunner is an all-timer. I mean, the stadium that goes from 100 to 0 happened then, and then like I think it was 12 minutes later with the missed field goal. Like it was, and Knoxville's another one that's on one since the last time we went there. It's incredible how much better that experience is. But the Ole Miss game, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting in for here. I know what Ole Miss has to bring to the table. For me, that day was all about Trinidad, and I was super impressed. And Georgia comes out, throws a deep fade to Colby Young right in front of me. He gets hurt on that play. We haven't seen him since. But again, 15-round fight. Georgia slowly but surely makes adjustments, starts sending different guys, tries to get Trinidad off his first read. And that game, everybody wants to pounce on Lane and whatever. But I look at that game and the Texas game, those wins for Georgia. Kirby just did an unbelievable job of not giving the other team the ball in the fourth quarter. They owned it, and that's to Gunnar Stockton's credit. And I did Pollock's podcast before the Ole Miss game, and I'm like, I just love what I've seen from Mike Bobo this year. And he was like, "Oh, you can't say that in Athens. You can't say that. We don't like Mike Bobo." I'm like, I love what I've seen from Mike Bobo. So it does. Talking to Kirby before that Tennessee game. They still were wondering. I mean, they look at you watch everybody watches NFL Sundays. It's Georgia guy, and there's a lot of youth now. It's just the overturn, and now he learns what they have. It's the biggest one to me is it sounds like C.J. Allen's not hurt that bad. When he went on, I mean, they lost him first quarter, second quarter against Texas. That's the guy to me when I look at him. He's the quarterback. He's as tough as anybody. Georgia's going to tackle you. They're going to sell out a little bit to the run and give up things on the back end. But yes, they have an identity. It's just different. They are really confident in their offensive skill guys. And you look at bringing in Branch, the kid Noah Brown from A&M coming in has stepped up since Colby went out. The tight ends, they do a great. I mean, what they do, you have a good scheme when you're running stuff and you just see tight ends running up the seam wide open. And they do that continuously. So they're good as good as anybody in that league. And, them and Ole Miss, if they don't make it to Atlanta, I don't think they're going to be bad. They're going to be sitting at home games in the playoff. And it's just this whole different thing because all we have in the 12-team playoff is from what we saw last year, and everybody that had the bye got busted up. So people want the home game. And, talking to everybody around the country, it's like, what would you rather have, the bye or the home game? People are like, give us the home game. We want our stadium for a home playoff game. So that's kind of a different turn. And Georgia's sitting there with what they've done in the resume is just awesome. And I wouldn't be surprised if that offense gave Georgia Tech a dose, knowing what Georgia Tech looks like on defense this week.
Yeah, the latest on CJ with that hamstring injury is that he's just it's still unknown, right? So we'll see. It'd be interesting, especially last year, to think about how ridiculous that Georgia Tech game was and what it could have cost Georgia, and then where Tech was. But Tech's defense has really kind of fallen off the cliffs the last couple weeks, right?
Bad.
So they may feel like, hey, we might be walking into this game already knowing we're scoring 40. So maybe we don't need C.J. Allen on the other side of this. But it's starting to look a little bit more like Georgia. Let's go through. Now, I want you to take this really wherever you want to go, because we've touched on these top teams. It sounds like you want to push back a little bit on liking Georgia better than A&M. So as I craft this next question, if you want to give us 60 seconds on that, I just would like your A&M thoughts.
They got difference makers up front, and Elko's an absolute assassin when you get in third downs, man. I've watched quarterback after quarterback, and there's been some good ones, but I get it. They haven't had the best year, but I still think Lenore Sellers has seen a lot in that second half when A&M makes that comeback. He's head on a swivel. And that's a guy that's really confident in his ability. But just to see, and then to hear Coach Saban talk about it, he's like, that guy on third, you've got to stay out on third downs because of what they do. And then with Cassius doing, I loved their personnel up front, what they had last year with Scorton and the two Shamairs. But this Cassius is no joke. And the way it's one thing like, all right, hey, we're going to do this and somebody's going to get to the quarterback, right? But it's like, no, he's that good where it's like, we're going to do this and we're going to get Cash as a free runner. It's like, how? He's your best rusher. You're going to just trust me. We're going to do this. So I just, the difference makers up front for A&M is just why. And their receivers are tremendous. I said going into this season, I thought Notre Dame made the biggest upgrade at wide receiver from what they were. And I guess, you could make some argument because of how bad Notre Dame was at that position. But A&M's guys, I mean, those guys are incredible what they've done. I love Concepcion at NC State, but he just didn't have a guy that was consistent enough. And then Craver's been unbelievable. And I thought it was an awesome story that Elko told about getting him. And he went to his secondary. He's like, hey, last year, rank the guys. And they're like, Mississippi State guy, get him. They got him. And he's been awesome.
If you start digging in a little bit further along, like, do you think Tech can win this whole thing? Do you think Oklahoma can win the whole thing? Do you think Bama? Is there someone from that group, Notre Dame, where you're like, I had to pick one? So you think Notre Dame is the best chance at kind of that secondary group? And again, this may not even be, I'm not even doing this as, hey, the top 4 teams are tier 1, then the next 2 teams or whatever. But I'm just talking specific to the bunching of the rankings.
Yeah, I listened to your interview with McGuire. I think he's a fascinating dude because of how genuine he is. But there's also, if you listen to him while he's talking to you, he's got belief in his team, man. He really does. He likes what he has. He likes that he has a difference makers on the defensive line. My issue with Tech, and this is what has always been it, but Scott and I talk about this every week after we talk about Texas Tech. Isn't it nuts that this is the first time in your lifetime that they've had a defense? Like, you put on Texas Tech every Saturday, you're like, holy shit, Texas Tech plays defense now.
Dude, the Mahomes years were ridiculous. Like, I remember Herb Street during one game was actually like disgusted.
Yeah.
Disgusted with the inability to be able to tackle.
One of the local guys told me, it might have been the SID or a local. He told me Mahomes scored 40 times at Tech in his career and lost every game. Like 10 times he scored 40 and lost.
Yeah.
That's insane. So anyway, the issue I have with Tech, I still don't know how good the offensive line is. I wonder about them in a setting, in a game where they're not at home. I thought they benefited a ton being at BYU, but give them credit. They dominated. And I'm still
that one being at home, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Like them in a neutral site where the place is going to be sold out against the Big Ten or an SEC school. That will be the test. Cause I love hearing McGuire talk about Baron Morton, how he's a coach's son and what he's been through every step of this bill that they've done. And, there's a lot of prideful people there. That's why I love Lubbock so much is everybody's bought in. And it's like this island in the state of Texas. It really is. And speaking of places, that's way better than it used to be. A couple more hotels for us down there. So if you need to get down there, there's people down there.
No blood on the sheets.
Options. Yeah, exactly. But I think Tech is and where I look at Notre Dame, they've gone against the Miami. They've gone against an A&M. I have more confidence in that offensive line. But I think if we talk about this week's games, the biggest factor, and I know you always talk about this and you're awesome on it, is these guys going on the road and in big third down situations. Like, what's Julian saying going to do? Like, this weekend, I want to see it. Trinidad, going. I mean, I know it's Mississippi State. Even Marcel.
Look, Mississippi State's a tougher out. I mean, if people have forgotten here, this is not a bad.
I mean, we've seen some bad state teams. This ain't one of them.
No, I mean, when you beat Arizona State with Levitt there,
yeah,
like, that's an incredible win.
Yep.
And they almost blew it too. And then, on top of everything else, you blow the lead and you're like, okay, this is the difference between, you expecting to lose versus expecting to win. And then the fact that they hung out in the game, granted, a lot of things have changed since then. That hasn't really mattered, but there's plenty of Mississippi State stuff this year that tells you, and that's why, like, the lane part of it, I feel bad for Ole Miss fans.
It's going to be an absolute circus, that game. I mean, all the factors.
Is Starkville a lot better than it used to be?
Haven't been. It's all right. I told Coach Saban that we drove there that weekend. We went there for a game. He's like, "You drove to Starkville?" from Birmingham. I'm like, yep, right from the airport. He's like, nah, there's not too much scenery on that drive. I'm like, no. Like a lot of front porches, though. A lot of front porches.
That could use some fixing up.
Yeah. What I will say, and it made me more confident in Indiana going into the year when we're talking about these quarterbacks of these teams, is talking to Jake Spavital, who had Mendoza at Cal. He made a great point of just about he was humbled real early on, and he's only building up. Like he didn't have much at Cal. I mean, you're going to places to Oregon, Washington back in the day. As a young dude, like they had to play him, and it's made him what he is. And that ability to throw those back shoulder fades on the road in Eugene, that stuff's real because it's unguardable. If you're on point, and I thought it said a lot about Surratt and Cooper in that. I mean, obviously Cooper makes play against Penn State, but those guys are real. But from the other tier, what are you saying? 6 to 12, say?
No, Bama's in there. Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff on Bama for this week. That I'm real. I just Jeremy Bernard and their center Parker Brailsford and Cuevas didn't play against Eastern Illinois. I'm hearing Bernard and Brailsford should be back. They really need Cuevas. He's been
he's awesome.
in much of an improved player, but if they don't have him, I don't know what they do. And I've loved what Grubb has done is play like that offensive game plan going into in Athens, like just coming out and throwing, punching was awesome. And it set the tone for that whole game. And in the end, Georgia wasn't able to come back. But they can't. What is it? I just did it all. Auburn gives up 2.5 yards a carry at home. Alabama runs for 3.1 in the SEC. And when I watched Ty Simpson, who I absolutely love, going back to probably the LSU, who was the game before that? He wasn't great, but he got the LSU. He made some absolute NFL throws. I thought LSU screwed up the end of the first half. That really got separation in that game. But then you go back to the Oklahoma deal and throws for 280 yards or 240. 240 in the first half, held to 80 in the second half. And it really looked to me, he got frustrated by the lack of run game. And now, speaking of circuses that you're going into this weekend, that place, I mean, to hear Saban say it, he firmly believes the place is haunted. He's like, that place is haunted.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, we do the Zoom call. He takes the glass. Anytime anyone brings up Auburn at home or Jordan Hare, whatever, the glasses comes off and he just starts shaking his head. It's like, look at the shit that happens. Look at the shit that happens there. And we've all seen it. So I think Alabama really has to just roll their sleeves up here. And on the other side, I wonder.
But they can't. I mean, they're not going to figure out running the football this year. you know, like it's not going to happen. I remember when Hill started getting more involved in the running game because he's just a bruiser. I was like, all right, maybe they'll have something here. The receivers are incredible. I can't imagine Bernard not being a great NFL player. That guy, you watch Jeremy, watch every time he has the ball and there's maybe 3 yards to the sticks and he's on the sideline and you think somebody has the angle on him. Not only does he get the first down, then through contact, it's like, hey, did you notice? Once again, he didn't end up on the ground. That guy, there's going to be maybe guys that test better than him. There's probably going to be like 2 or 3 receivers that are taken ahead of Jeremy that we're going to look back in 5 years going, how did they get drafted ahead of that guy? That's my Bernard rant. But they cannot having to figure out how to run the football this week. Like, I think we could put it to bed.
Yeah, no, but on top of that, knowing what Auburn has shown offensively with Daniels at quarterback, he's a weapon in the run game. And also, I'm just taking a wild guess. I haven't talked to you much about Auburn. I'm guessing you absolutely love Cam Coleman.
Yeah, I actually was excited going back to the beginning of the year because I was like, Auburn might be all right. I mean, Hugh's just going, if we hadn't promised Jackson because of the, you know what he's telling everybody going, if I had just gone with the other guy, we hadn't promised him in the portal because he was a higher profile guy at Oklahoma. If I had just done all this before, I mean, the line's held basically -5.5, which I think a lot of people, when you looked at it, you went, like now I want nothing to do with this thing. Like I felt way
Yeah, I
better.
think-
Like when Oregon came out at 10.5 against SC, I was like, okay, good. Like they see it the way I see it. They're the better football team. SC doesn't have enough playmakers on defense to probably score some points, whatever. And it's kind of that tricky number that you're playing with. When you like another team and then you look at who this, it has everything to do with history. When you saw it at 5.5, I was like, this is gross. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I was talking to McElroy this week. I thought he made a great point. Just like all these Alabama people, he's like, I can't stand. He's like, oh, this is a must win. He's like, when have we gone to Jordan Hare and it's not been a must win? It's always a must win there. You know what you're getting into there. And I think, Ohio State and Alabama are in the same predicament. You just got to go there and win, man. No matter what it takes, no matter what it looks like,
Right.
no matter how many points you score, no one cares. You just got to win the game. But the reason I brought Cam Coleman up is since Freeze was gone, it's 2 games, 20 targets. So you got that going for you. But I cannot wait for these games this week. The other thing about Ty Simpson, he's fumbled each of the last 5 games. He's pressing. He's pressing, and in that atmosphere, to be able to take a deep breath, say, all right, I know I got weapons here. Let's use them. So, to your point, Bernard, using him in the screen game to offset the lack of run game. Grubb will have it all laid out. I just can't wait to see what happens because Auburn, talking to coaches in the SEC, they are blown away at that roster he was able to put together for the amount of money that it was. They think the world of that defense.
Last college thing and a couple NFL things getting ready for the week, but let's get into the BYU ranking. They're 11th in the AP. We'll see what happens. If you go back to last week, again, obviously the committee rankings, 11th there as well. Utah was 12th. So there's a fascination there with Utah. That Tech BYU game should be more alarming than score. Tech kicked 1 million field goals. There was a bunch of points left on it wasn't even close. Now, rematch, we'll see. But I don't know why anybody would have BYU ahead of Miami, even with the extra loss. And I understand Miami fans being upset. There's some stuff I agree with. There's other stuff I would completely push back on. The Utah love seems odd in the committee. They dropped in the AP even after pulling out that win against K-State. I don't know if K-State running for almost 500 yards is going to make the committee go, maybe this isn't the 11th or 12th best team in the country here, but it feels kind of connected where, well, if we think this of Tech, then we'll think this of BYU because we also still think this way of Utah, and they still have the win to bank on from the previous weekend if they want to go with that. The BYU-Utah element, I just don't like it in front of the Hurricanes.
I'm with you. The Utah thing, I don't understand.
None of us do.
I don't like. They absolutely annihilated Arizona State in Jeff Sims' first start as a quarterback. Levitt didn't play in that game.
Sims is 38. He hadn't played.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding, but look at his resume. He's been around a little while.
I'm with you, but here you go. Utah strength of schedule 55, Miami 48. Miami's got the win over a top 9 team. 4 turnovers against Louisville, and then that rough in the passer call against SMU. I just hope that's not the difference in them making it. But the BYU, the head-to-head against Utah, like that, I don't know what else. Strength of record 6. I don't understand it. I even look at Vanderbilt in Utah. Vanderbilt's probably going to lose ranked wins with Missouri losing again. But their
ranked wins are South Carolina, LSU, and then Mizzou's going to be out after the loss. They dropped. But SC didn't drop out. Go ahead.
I'm talking about the playoff rankings that the Tuesday night deal. So I think they got to reassess Utah with that win against Arizona State. That's the one thing I can only think of. And I like you're saying Miami ahead of BYU. I'm obviously thinking Miami ahead of BYU and Utah. But this is the deal, though. It's not really a 12-team playoff. We're going to have a group of 5, and Notre Dame's going to be a part of it. It's group of 10. So it makes it even harder, to move up there. the one nightmare scenario I had for Notre Dame was that if BYU were to beat Texas Tech in the Big 12 title game and then Bama won the SEC, that would make, I think, Notre Dame a little nervous.
Say that again. BYU beats Tech in the rematch.
BYU comes back, beats Tech in the Big 12, and then SEC, Bama beats Auburn, beats A&M. That's you're playing with fire there. But I was just trying to think of those scenarios that we've always
well, that's the BYU
about.
Notre Dame scenario. But even then,
Correct.
It's group of 5. I wish
hard.
I still don't know that would be enough to get in front of them, because
I'm not saying it's going to, if you're just going to have a lot, you know how it is. I mean, Notre Dame sits at home, and on Championship Saturday, we've had days that just get flipped upside down, and you don't know where the shit's going to fall. So
but they've also said in the 12-game thing, they're not going to penalize the losers, because you knew, like, the Big 12, remember all those years where it's like, if the Big 12 had won, they had to play the extra game, they lose, then we're even going back to like BCS stuff. And that's why the Big 12 specifically was like, they got rid of the conference championship game, because it was just, you could look at it 2 different ways: an extra chance to screw up and then take yourself out of your slot for the national championship, or an extra chance to prove yourself if you feel like going into the final week, you need it. And for the Big 12, for just a bunch of bad years, it didn't work out for them.
And that's where, we haven't had this yet, where you're having a team outside the top 10 beat top 5 and a top 3 team. What do you do? So it's just, you don't want to see that.
All right, give us a winner sneaking off into the bathroom, getting the play in Thanksgiving. We're like, hey, I gotta check on this bank transfer. Detroit's -2.5 against a Packers team that went from everybody's favorite to, like, even when they win, none of us like them now. Kansas City's -3 on the road at Dallas. Baltimore -7 at home against Cincinnati.
Could I give you a Philly Black Friday?
Yeah, we'll take a Black Friday winner. We're not gonna.
Yeah,
we're gonna.
I started 2 weeks ago, and I'm just trying to do the roulette theory of double it against the Bears. So we're still going against. We had a push last week with the Steelers. I thought that was auto, but no. I'm guessing Philly's going to be given like 7.5 now.
It's 7. Yeah,
7. Yeah, we'll lay it with Philly.
I love that. Philly responding, national embarrassment. A little later slot there in London. I was up till 1 a.m. watching that game. And my adrenaline.
New appreciation for Sky Sports?
I would say this: if I were a talent agent and I had a guy that wants to get into television and cover the NFL, I would be calling Sky Sports. You can call them this week. They don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I'd be like, do you need any other NFL bodies? And like somebody, I think OCU Manuro was doing something over there, which makes a ton of sense. And there was another guy that I think was actually legitimately English. I'm not knocking anybody. But I'm just telling you, there's some reps available. Sky Sports, get involved, NFL stuff. Like if your guy just retired, he's 30, he's got some name brand value to it, he wants to get in TV. Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to get in line behind Orlovsky? Good fucking luck, bro. Dan's cranking the tape.
Go across the pound.
Yeah. So head over to London town, Sky Sports. They do their post-game stuff. I couldn't believe it. Or like, are the Bears?
I heard you talking about it.
Yeah.
I want to get it. I look for it on my app. See if YouTube has it.
The number of things I was signing up for this weekend, hoping to find a way to get games. And then I forgot that I do have this global thing. So it all worked out, but it was stressful. But then I remember what Van Pelt used to be like on the road when his iPad wasn't working for the Maryland game. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to turn into that. And granted, there was nobody even in my room. So there was no one for me to bum out. But like when the Van Pelt tornado of how come my iPad can't get the Terps game on when there's a few people around, it can change the mood a bit.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. Affects others in a way.
Leaders
sometimes.
leaders have to be aware of how they lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very correct.
What's your favorite? Let me let you go on this one. What's your favorite NFL spot that you've been to this year with Van Pelt that you didn't expect? I know it's Lambeau, but then it doesn't. You can't say that. So
I'll say this: Lambeau, the second time, was so much better. It was
feels like there's a theme here. Everything's getting better. It's like there's a lot of money in football or something.
Yeah. First off, wherever John Sutcliffe is post game is the best.
What's his nickname?
What is?
I put you on the spot. He's
Pedro
Mexican,
Dinky.
right?
Pedro
Yeah,
Dinky.
yeah. Say it again.
Pedro Dinky.
Okay. I'm not. I don't feel comfortable saying it.
No, me neither. You could cut that, Ceruti. I'll tell you what. I really like the Vegas Stadium. I thought that was really good. The way they have everything backloaded in for the trucks, like Arizona is with that drive-in thing. There's an in and out at the top of the ramp. That always helps. What's crazy is probably the best game and atmosphere was the Chiefs losing at Jacksonville this year. I mean, that place was rock. I'm telling you, it was rock. I mean, it is an absolute shit show, Ryan. They're doing the stadium from like, if it makes it like the outside in. So like you're literally walking underneath all these scaffoldings where that's going to like all connect, like doing the bridge, like the Euro stadiums, I guess. But they're doing it all like hundreds of yards back. So like everybody's walking underneath tarps and scaffoldings. And then when you get in there, it was awesome. And it shows how much everyone hates the Chiefs. It really does. Whereas I find myself now on the other side, because I still believe they're the best team. Scott and I went at it last week. He's like, you still believe they are? I'm like, yeah.
You think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL?
I would take them to win the Super Bowl.
Over everybody else? Over the Rams?
In the AFC.
Oh, okay. All right.
We were talking AFC. Yeah. Because I was like, he's like, oh, they haven't won a close game. And I'm like, well, they've won them in the past. And they're going to keep playing them. They just don't have guys that can get away on man coverage. It's unreal. But I'll still take my shot with 50. I've always been a proponent of their defense, and no one ever talks about them being in games because of it. And I thought they showed that Sunday against Jonathan Taylor. What do we got?
Somebody did on Monday.
Dude, Foxborough this week. They're back.
Dude. You can have Foxborough.
I've tried. Last night it was Kelsey, Ryan Clark, and Scott in there. And Scott's like, I was like, have you been there? He's like, for Maryland Lacrosse National Championship. I'm like, buddy. And Ryan and Jason just start shaking their heads. They're like, oh boy, they're going to be out in full force for the G-men coming in. It should be a lot of fun. I'm bummed they got the end zone suites in the end zone now. My buddy had seats right there. And those were just the best. So we'll see. The guys with the muskets will be blaring. I can't wait to see Vrabes. I haven't seen him in a while. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, tell him I said hello.
It's been a while since that place has been on one. And then we'll be out in LA. Philly invades the Chargers. So
that's nice.
We'll be
it's
out.
Gonna be a home game for Philly. So
oh God, I
get
can't
ready
imagine.
for it. You're the best. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the Valley. I can't believe you're back in the Valley. And say hi to our mutual tall friend. Thanks, man.
You got it.
Before we get to life advice, a little Ceruti recap on how the Alliance marches on here with our partnership with DraftKings. What do we got?
Yeah, we're taping this the Wednesday pod on Tuesday. Holidays, obviously, get everybody out early on a Wednesday. So we can't. The props aren't up. We're not going to give our Alliance pick out. It will be up on social. It'll be up on the Ron Russillo show. I think Twitter or X or whatever, Instagram. So check it out there. It'll be up on DraftKings as well. And we had a tough week last week because
I know,
man,
great start too. Hot.
We got cockblocked last week. We just did.
I know.
Kyle wrote it until it died, and unfortunately that was the only one wrong last week.
Too fixated on the cock blocks. I know. Getting off the cocks.
So we're officially off the cock. So there you go. But check it out Wednesday. We'll have it up on DraftKings and up on all our socials too.
All right, yeah, we'll get those out for you. Get our picks. King of the Court's been really good so far this year. So check out all the latest lines on DraftKings.
You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice. The email address is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. We've got Kyle, we've got Ceruti. Let's get right to it. Back stateside. That was annoying. That was an annoying way to say that.
We've already started
Everybody
taking
good?
class, so that's cool.
You dropping any
No.
mates? Any mates? Oi?
No. I did
Oi,
say bloke
Rev?
once last week, though.
All right.
Bloke is such a great term. I wish we would use that here. For the longest time, I thought bloke was an insult, and it's just like, not just a dude.
Yeah, it sounds like another word for penis or something, doesn't it?
No, it's like
I'm
that
starting to
bloke
think
over
I
there,
should
it's like
start
that guy.
saying the C word a little bit more.
Dude, they just make it work. They really
They let
do
it
make
rip.
it work.
Yeah, they really let that one rip.
Yeah,
Australia.
like,
like-
why can't we do that? Like
'Cause it's
over
like-
here,
It's less aggressive when they do it. It's like more normal. When we say it, it's more like, oh man, that's
yeah, but
hard.
if
I
we
wouldn't-
all just started saying it, then it'd be normal.
you start,
Yeah.
see people follow. You know,
Yeah, nobody
I'm
wants to
making
be
it a thing,
first.
guys.
No one wants to be first, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I don't know. If no one went first, where would we all be? We'd all fucking,
Great point.
we'd all be living in the Middle East still.
yeah, it's true. Trendsetter.
Deep cut. Deep cut. All right.
Yeah. Waiting on that flood. The next one. All right. Thoughts on tanking and taking a personal rebuilding year. 34-year-old dude in one of Ryan's favorite cities. No gym stats since this isn't really about me. Okay. I've got a friend my age who's gone all in on what he calls his rebuilding year. I fucking love this.
It's all about branding. This is a great brand.
Yeah. This would be an unbelievable. I mean, first of all, obviously I've thought about this, but this would be an unbelievable seminar. You're in there, maybe a couple cycles of growth. You're in some lobby of a Marriott in Austin, Texas. You're welcoming guys in, and you're just getting up there Tom Cruise Magnolia style and speaking to your people and going, everyone needs to take a year off, like a reset year for yourself mentally.
You're not a loser. You just are scheming. You're scheming,
Yeah.
man.
I've thought about taking a rebrand like an art year. Just learn Mountain Jam on guitar, finish a different script.
Rent a garage
just
somewhere. Start throwing paint on
unplug.
the walls. Yeah.
Isn't that what
Yeah.
college is for? Yeah, you either learn the piano, you learn guitar.
But the problem is that you don't appreciate it enough. You think you're supposed to do it. Imagine doing that at like 40.
I think about it all the time. All the history classes that I like wish I could go back and actually pay more attention in.
Dude, I might go to the culinary. It's right here in Hyde Park. CIA, dude. Those one-off classes are expensive, though.
Christmas
thinking-
bonus, consider it covered. You
Maybe
know,
like a little
go
knife
ahead.
knife class. You know, I
No,
cut,
I
I
love
cut
this. I'll
life.
pay
We
for
got to make a series out of this too. I think we got cameras there. Get Kyle.
I as much as I enjoy cooking, my knife skills are just embarrassing. Like I almost don't want to cut. Like I almost like go leave the room. I'm going to chop this onion. It's really sad.
Do you want, Ceruti, do you want to sign up for an online course at LSU? We can say we're LSU grad students.
Yeah, like take modern Russia or something, you know?
Well, that way I won't feel like as much of a fraud. And then if Lane Kiffin's there, and then part of my
Student
team
section?
asked for Lane Kiffin, and then I asked for Lane Kiffin, and they're like, well, look, we have a better relationship with part of my take. Like, Lane's cool with those guys. Like, Lane doesn't like you. And then you're like, okay, but he's a student at LSU.
Active student. Yeah,
It's one of the biggest student podcasts we have.
I'm in.
Okay. All right. So he says it so often, I'm honestly surprised he hasn't printed it on a hoodie. He's been single for about 2 years after a long relationship, been on some dates, but they've not been great. Nothing crazy, just your standard ghosting, weird energy, a few situations where it was clearly the backup plan, enough to make him feel like he needed to regroup. Yeah, that'll do it to you.
This guy is plugged in with what's going on with his friend. I wouldn't have any of this information other than like, yeah, he's just had a rough patch. He's got a lot of info.
Every now and then we'll get an email where they're actually writing about me
Yeah,
and fucking with me the whole time, and this one, I don't think is.
I don't think so.
Very recently had elbow surgery. They'll sideline him in the gym for a bit. He's annoyed he can't even do basic lifts without wincing. Earlier this summer, he thought his hair was thinning, so he buzzed it off and got on Propecia. He also quit drinking, which is good for him, but it instantly removed 90% of the scenarios where he used to leave his apartment.
Yep.
Somewhere along the way, he convinced himself that he cannot re-enter the world until his hair grows back exactly how he wants it. His arms return to pre-surgery size or better. Honestly, there's a lot of things like me on this. And his finances are so dialed in that even a CPA would be impressed. Until then, he acts like he's on lockdown. Put that all together, and he's basically retreated into a home-based witness protection program. He skips almost every social event. He turns down setups with people who genuinely think he get along with someone. Most night he's doing PT, cooking the same rotation of 3 meals, watching videos, reading about supplements, and telling himself he's getting everything, quote, dialed in. I kind of fucking love this guy.
I think you have to leave him alone. Yeah.
He's putting himself like through the combine of like life, you know. he's just like,
wait,
sure
it
he's
gets
dialed
better.
in.
He keeps throwing out the line about I'm tanking for AJ DeBonsa, and I honestly can't tell anymore if he's joking or if he's willing, or if he's waiting for a first overall pick to fix his confidence. So he's just, I love that. Here's my dilemma: I want him to feel good about himself. I want him to get healthy and grounded and confident again. But I keep wondering if all his time away is quietly working against him. Is he going to feel out of practice once he tries to date again? Is he going to psych himself out because he hasn't interacted casually with anyone in months? Is he building himself up for something, some mythical moment where everything magically clicks instead of just letting him be normal, a normal human who is still figuring things out? I care about the guy. He's a good friend. I want whatever helps him long term. I just can't tell if he's generally rebuilding or if he's created a very comfortable holding pattern that is starting to look like a lifestyle rather than a phase. Do I need to drag him out against his will? So I'm curious what you all think. Do rebuilding years actually help if you stretch them out this long? Or is he unintentionally heading toward the Washington Wizards version of personal growth where every year is like the year before things get better?
Yep. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Yeah, right.
How much longer does he have on this PT post-surgery thing? I mean, he could just be like, I don't really want to get in the mix until I feel right about that too. I mean, obviously it's probably a little bit of both, right? It's probably a little bit of like, this shit is not going to be what he expects it when he comes out of his cocoon as this butterfly man that he's expecting to be. And then the other part is, you know, maybe he just doesn't feel up to, you know, I don't know what it's like. Like I know PT could be shitty, and I don't know how he actually feels about it, but I don't know if there's an end to the PT. I think that's when you line up as insurgents and just go into his apartment and grab him out when he's done with that. If the actual end date isn't the actual end date, then. But other than that, I'd let him rock. It doesn't sound like he's being self-destructive, just being a little bit of a hermit.
See, It does all depend on the timing. I do feel like it's, you know, you get hit with a couple little things, like not little things, but like you have the medical thing and then like your hair situation and like, hey, your dating situation doesn't go right. And then and then you're just like, hey, I'm not who I want to be as a person. And you get in kind of a dangerous space of like trying to figure out who you are. And that's fine. That's all normal. I feel like it's good for guys to like self-reflect and be like, okay, can I be a better person? But it's like, how long does that take? Like, you can't be in this cocoon, as you said, Kyle, for like, multiple years. I like the idea in principle, but I think, I mean, you would know, like, as the friend, like, there's just going to be a time where it's like, this feels too long. I need to do something. So it doesn't feel like we're at like that break in case of emergency point. I'd say leave him alone and let him kind of try to figure his stuff out. But if he is literally just a cocoon and all of a sudden it's just like on Reddit threads all night, it sounds like he's at least trying to be somewhat productive though. Like he's reading books, he's taking supplements, he's learning how to make himself a better person physically. Like that's all good stuff and positive things, but you still do need that human interaction in some way.
Yeah, he's not holed up with a handle of Tito's, right? I mean, it's like it's a little different. Then that's like if someone in my group was to disappear, that'd probably be what would be happening. And I'm wondering,
he quit drinking, right?
He quit drinking, right? Yeah. Exactly. He's reading about supplements and stuff like that. I wonder, like, he didn't mention about any other people. Are you the only one that can put pressure on him to come out? If it's just you, I mean, I don't know. When there's like 3 or 4, it's like I feel like the guy will give in a little bit more. If it's just you, you know, I don't know. I'd plan your approach a little bit more careful. But if there's 4 of you, I'd say, you know, there's strength in numbers, dude. Just bully him into coming out. It'll work itself out.
If he's actually that upset about this breakup of a long-term relationship, right? And this is kind of an age, especially at like 34, maybe you think this really is the one and you're starting to do some planning. You're starting to think about like, what do you want out of life and how many kids? And then when that gets disrupted, it's a little bit different than, oh no, I can't go. Like I broke up with a bartender from the Chance, so I can't go there on Thursdays now, you know?
That's a little Poughkeepsie thing? There's a Chance in Poughkeepsie.
Like,
there must be another one. Okay.
Right. There's probably a few. There's probably a few bars.
Maybe.
Name. Murphs.
Yeah.
Like, wait, Murphs in Boise?
Okay. All
right. Look, I love this. because it's a funny way to say, hey, I think I'm going to be bummed out for a year.
Yeah.
It's better than, to call back the other guys, better than walking in a room and sighing in front of your buddies.
Yes.
Like, this is at least you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah, take control.
Right. So I don't know, it's cool that you care about him and everything like that, but I just wonder if there's like a funny way to be like, the reason why NBA stuff works or other stuff is because there's deadlines. Like the next season has to start, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to ask him, like, as long as you're building for 26, 27, and it's not a 3-year plan, because it's like 3-year rebuilding. You can have a 3-year rebuilding plan. It, as plenty of fan bases know, just because you said it's going to take 3 years doesn't mean it's only going to take 3 years. So the fact that he's like a little creative about the whole thing, the hair thing probably bums me out for him a little. Watching videos is not really a reset year. Like you're just watching videos all the time. And
what
as
if
somebody
it's like
that,
TED Talks? Maybe he's just trying to get his education levels up.
TED Talks is over, right? No one's doing that.
I watched the the TED Ed stuff. They're like 5
Is it
minute
still? I
things,
felt like it
learn
swept the
about
nation, and then I haven't heard the name TED Talk unless
but,
it
there
was
are
someone like referring to something that's not a TED Talk as a TED Talk. Anyway,
Yeah,
I digress.
I'm just saying there are videos you could that are
Sure,
you could learn things.
Internet's
from.
a big place.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think that when he comes out, everything's going to be fixed. When he says he's got these benchmarks. He's like,
obviously not.
PT's over. Like
Right.
The women aren't going to be. They're like, oh my god, did you see the head of hair on that guy? I haven't seen in 2 years. Like it's not going to be like that.
He seems hyper focused.
Right, exactly.
Something about him.
Exactly. His skin looks like he's been getting the right amount of chlorophyll in his supplements or whatever. Like it's not going to be this thing, but I guess anything will feel better than no one talking to you. But I don't know. Maybe there's a way to like temper the expectations of like, dude, it's never going to be perfect. So I don't know.
I would just ask him, like, which year do you think you're going to start the season? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe time it up with with the AJ thing and just say, hey, once the NBA draft is here and he gets drafted, you're also drafted into the real world. Like that's the
right.
time.
Late June, you got to get ready to put the big
Summer's
boy jersey
here.
on.
Yeah.
Bald boy summer. Let's go, dude.
It is really funny. And I would say once he gets back out there, if, he's back in the wild, he's going on dates, and girls are like, what have you been up to the last year? Maybe leave this out.
Yeah.
Or maybe you meet the right person and they totally understand it. The fear is, I'll end here. The fear is once you start spending a lot of time by yourself, you get real used to it.
Play him this, man. Play him this.
Yeah.
Just play him this last bit of the clip. There you go.
Yeah. Be like, I can leave today, or I can leave tomorrow, or I can leave next week, or I can not go, or I can go there. All right, quick one. 6 foot 175. Gym stats in the mud. Player comp. Domas Sabonis. My friend said that once in pickup because I'm left-handed and scored a couple nice sweeping hook shots. All right. My email is quick, but a pretty big moral dilemma for me. I got a new job, leaving my old company. As a going away gift, they gifted me tickets to a sporting event. I'm thrilled, love to go to the game, and it's my favorite team in the sport. But after checking the tickets, they're worth $1,000 each on the resale market. Money's been tight for a while. Living in an expensive city, and an extra $2,000 would obviously be massive, but it feels quite unethical to sell a gift like this. Let me know what you guys think. Love the pod. Keep going.
The question is, are they going to find out? And I feel like
Right.
with today's technology, they most certainly are going to get an email that the tickets have changed hands. So how do you feel about them knowing that is the real question.
Yep. I'm with Kyle. I don't think
Who gave you the tickets? If I left and my manager, Steve Ceruti, I'd be comfortable being like, hey, man, this is what I'm going to do. But if you don't have a guy like Steve in your corner, I don't know who gave you the tickets. Were you very surprised to get these tickets? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand about the dynamic at the place you're leaving. At the end of the day, it's sort of like leaving an apartment. I left my TV mount on the wall, and what are they going to do about it? I tried to clean, I made it look like I made an effort, but at the end of the day, there were some things that I just didn't quite follow through on. So, you have that whole, it's in the rear view. So,
yeah, and I'm usually not like anti this is kind of like a different thing, but like, obviously we have 2 kids, like, you get books, right? And then you just re-gift a book that you don't use. Like, we have books that were signed to somebody else that we got, like, it just happens. They change hands. But experiences, I don't know. That person, like, that's something like, hey, I kind of expect you to go to this thing that I gave these things to you for. If not, let me know, because I'll maybe take them back. I wouldn't feel good about it. I just wouldn't. And I know, listen, the money thing, I get it. If you feel like you can get away with it, maybe it's worth doing it. But I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
So mom and pop doesn't sound like it. If they're dropping $2,000 on going away tickets, doesn't sound like a mom and pop. Not. Which stick it to the man. I'm just kidding. But I think I might have done it. I don't know.
I'd probably sell them.
I might sell them. Yeah.
$2,000 when you need $2,000.
Yeah.
But what do you when you get confronted? What do you say?
Well, like what I would have called and said to you, like,
you want some of this, bitch?
He's got a good reason,
No
like,
more gifts for you. Yeah,
doing a lot of moving and shaking over here. $2,000 would help me a lot more than going here and spending whatever I'm going to spend on the game too. So,
all right, we got another one here. I forwarded Ceruti. If you could forward this one to Kyle mid reading, just so we can see the picture, so we all have the picture, that would be amazing. Purple hat guy ? Hey guys, 24, 5'10", 215 pounds. Not a basketball player, unfortunately, but I think my baseball player comp would be 2013 Koji Uehara. Just come in and get shit done. Love it. Love that. Let me give you a quick background. Born and raised in Kansas, transplanted to New Mexico a few years ago. I'm a huge K-State guy. Sorry about that one at Utah. Especially baseball. So naturally, I wear a K-State baseball hat to the gym, but I've recently had an epiphany. I wear one literally every time I'm in the gym, and most people in New Mexico are not familiar with K-State. So I just look like some asshole that only wears purple hats. Should I even care? Should I branch out and get some different colors in the rotation? I know this is a menial issue, but I love your thoughts. Thanks, guys. P.S. Ryan, what does a guy have to do to get more baseball content out of you? I don't know. All right. Did you send this to Kyle?
I had the email, but the photo did not send to me.
Okay, because our boy.
But I get the idea.
He went into.
Is there a logo on the hat, or is there no logo on the hat?
K-State. Just says cats.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Everyone.
This guy.
Everyone
this
will
guy's fucking awesome. He's drenched in sweat. The sink that he's taking the picture in front of is in the mirror, and this is not the nicest gym. The outlets, for whatever reason, are covered in filth. This reminds me a bit of like when you see a girl on Instagram like posting a picture from her bathroom, and she's like about to absolutely kill it tonight or whatever. It's like not with that fucking rusty towel hanger in the background. Like,
ignore the mirror.
Do you have the pic? Hasn't loaded for you, Ceruti? What do you got over there?
It's not in there. It's not attached. It's not attached.
I don't know. You've been falling short with your email and stuff lately, bud. I don't know,
because you guys changed your emails for obvious reasons.
Did it. Oh yeah, you're right. I did it.
Oh, it loaded. I got it. Hold on.
Oh, good.
I'm texting you.
All right. I don't think this guy needs to change anything. Just keep rocking your K-State stuff. It doesn't matter.
Do they not have sports in where he's at? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. People leave out of state to go to schools. I don't understand.
Cat? Looks like Big Cat.
Big Cat wishes.
It's kind of an absurd hat.
Oh, really?
I'm going to be honest. I love hats.
Think so?
Is it a ball cap or what? I mean, no one's.
It looks like
a
base, like the K-State baseball team hat. Which isn't a bad thing, but.
All right, dude, be purple hat guy. I mean,
do you have it yet, Kyle? Did you send it to him?
I don't have it.
The anticipation is intense right now.
All right, sent in our wow. It's the text thread is loading. God damn it! Got some technical difficulties today. This has been great.
I want to have an opinion, and I just don't. I don't want to have to change it. Let's see. Fuck yeah, dude! What?
He looks great.
He looks great, and it's a hat of a team.
He's only worried about wearing this at the gym though, or is this just like he wears this all the time?
He just thinks because he's in New Mexico, he shouldn't be wearing K-State gear all the time. I think you're K-State guy. You're thick. That's not a stringer tank, but it's pushing the limits. There's some places, early ESPN gym, they wouldn't let you rock that. The sink, the tiling, the backsplash, that place. I hope the membership isn't too much, because that bathroom looks fucking terrible. Drop ceiling, all sorts of problems.
I don't see one like weird brown spot on that ceiling though. That's what happens when you get the drop ceilings. This one looks like it was recently done. They recommitted to
the
it.
tracks. They're all
Okay. I can't believe this was an email.
no. We should post this. We should hook this guy up.
I think
He
that
looks
people wear weirder shit at the gym. You're fine.
conclusion. Perfect. All right.
RFK's in jeans, dude.
Well done. Well done. Kyle, Ceruti, thank you for jumping on the pod. Hope everybody has a terrific Thanksgiving. Travel pod. Could we turn that around for people on a Wednesday? Could we do that in a day, Kyle? Or that's
Yeah, it would have been nice to hear about that when you sent me the files, but sure, I'll just do it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So there we go. You're going to have 3 pods 3 days in a row from us. Or no, should we not do that because this is Wednesday?
Let's drop it on drop it on Thanksgiving.
You motherfuckers. Let's do it.
That's even worse.
Why is that worse in the
Because
morning?
Kyle needs the deadline. Kyle needs it to be Wednesday because if
Well,
you tell him it's Thursday, then he'll do it Wednesday, and that cuts
But
it to
it'll be done
Wednesday.
on Wednesday. You tell me.
This is
Kyle.
this is one of the biggest Wednesdays Kyle's had in years.
Huge.
It's fair.
Kyle, text me what you think you can do separately.
TBD on this.
Oh, I thought this was to be a nice little Christmas present for people. No, it's all right. We'll get
Oh,
it
you
done.
want it to be Christmas?
We'll get it done. I don't know. I figured it was going to be sometime when we were going to go short, go a short week,
don't
but
know
not
about
this
that.
one. All right.
You
Hey,
want to save it till Christmas?
you let me know what's going on. You're the boss.
Yeah, but I don't
I'm
want
the
you to
guy
feel
who just
that
got a
way.
new email. So what's you tell me what's up.
All right, maybe it won't be out. Yeah, because we're releasing this one day before Thanksgiving. Anyway, everybody enjoy your family travel. Hopefully, it's not a huge pain in the ass. Please subscribe to the Ryen Russillo Show, part of the Barstool Network.